Harvey's Hot Takes with Bryan Hayes from Overdrive on TSN Radio or wherever you get your podcasts. We're going to start by talking about Auston Matthews, who captained the U.S. team to gold. And, Bryan, I've never seen him look so happy. Like, this is the happiest I've ever seen Auston Matthews. The smile seemed genuine. So if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, what are you hoping Auston brings back from this experience other than just more smiles?
Yeah, he is happy. He deserves to be happy. I mean, what an incredible accomplishment for him. And you're right. I mean, it kind of makes me wonder, I know all Leaf fans have done this, like what would have happened if they actually broke through 6-7 years ago? You know, how different would he be? How different would the Marner, Nylander, Tavares scenario have been if they just broke through and won 5, 6, 7 years ago? Because it was a buildup. It took this long, and hopefully he remembers that. You asked the question, what can the Leafs hope for, out of this scenario? What can Leaf fans hope Auston Matthews brings back? Is obviously that winning pedigree, obviously a sense of confidence, and hopefully he can apply that and realize, the importance of winning and how much it can change your life and your viewpoint of the sport. So I think all of that goes without saying for all of these American players that are going to return to their club team, that they come back better than ever, motivated more than ever, and certainly that hopefully applies with Auston Matthews and the Maple Leafs. But I also think there's another thing that Leaf fans and the Maple Leafs brass have to hope Matthews takes out of this, and that is a sense of loyalty and chasing that dream with the team you've known throughout your career and on the American side of things throughout your life, right? He was born in the United States. He's an American. He was always going to chase gold with the American team. He didn't have the opportunity to join Canada because they lost at the Four Nations or become Swedish or Finnish. It was like, I'm riding or I'm dying as an American hockey player. And in the end, they ended up winning the gold. And I think if you're a Leaf fan or the Leafs, you're hoping he has the same sense of loyalty as a Maple Leaf. He's into year 10 and he's not going to go chase it somewhere else, because winning with that team you've been with the whole way and with the longest is worth so much more when it finally pays off. It leads to the smiles and just the jubilation that we've seen out of him the last 48 hours. So I think the Leafs are hoping for that. Leaf fans are certainly hoping for that. The flip side of it, though, is, Jay, he's tasted victory, and now he might be absolutely dedicated to it. It may be intoxicating to him, and if he feels like he can't get it again as a Maple Leaf, does the door open where he feels like he's got to leave? I hope that's not the case. I don't think Leaf fans hope that's the case. I certainly believe Leafs brass never hope that is ever going to be the case. But that is all of a sudden the fork in the road now that Matthews has finally reached the mountaintop.
And you could apply that same loyalty, that same scenario to Connor McDavid with the Edmonton Oilers. And obviously, as you know, Bryan McDavid was so brilliant at the Olympics and was named Olympic MVP. And he's winning these individual awards over and over and over again. The Hart trophies, the Conn Smythes, even though the team isn't winning the Cup final, the Olympic MVP, even though the team doesn't win gold. But how do you think the losses, the team losses, are affecting his legacy?
Well, they certainly count for something, right? But he's not alone. He still has time to try to chase down these victories. And I still believe he's going to get them, Jay. I do. I mean, I think he's got at least 2 more Olympic Games in him. And I think they will win gold. Canada will win gold either in 4 years or in 8 years. So I believe he will check that box. I believe it will happen. And I think he's going to be in the NHL for a long time chasing Stanley Cups. But I think what has become clear here is he's not a young guy, right? Like he's the last 3 years have probably felt like an eternity to him, losing 2 Cup finals and now a gold medal. He's 29. He's been in the league for 11 years. He doesn't have 20 years in front of him. He's probably got 10. So it just shrinks. Every opportunity is fleeting. It comes and goes so quickly, and I think that has obviously been something that he's realized quickly. But we've all known that he's filled out every other individual accomplishment you could ever have. He's won everything. He's already won his Conn Smythe. Hasn't won a cup, like you said. He's already won his tournament MVP at the Olympics. He doesn't have gold. So he doesn't have to worry about that in the future, right? It has to be simply focused, and I'm sure it will be for the rest of his career. But I think it's more important to focus on the rest of his prime when it comes to what this means for his legacy. Because, I've told you this before. I've talked about it on your show, on my show before. Winning is one thing if you do it like Ray Bork or other legends later in their career, and it certainly means something, and it's a ring, it's a parade, it's a cup, it's something no one can take away from you. But winning in your prime when you're the man, that's the objective. That's what Aaron Judge is trying to do with the Yankees. That's what Josh Allen is trying to do with the Bills. That's what McDavid's got to do with the Oilers. He's got to get that cup, and then he can breathe. He'll get that gold medal, then he can breathe. Great players have lost. Brady's lost Super Bowls. Mahomes has lost Super Bowls. LeBron has lost, obviously, NBA Finals. Sidney Crosby's, he's lost Cup Finals. So it's not like he's doing something other all-time great players haven't been through before, but all those other guys also won, and they won a lot. So he's got to get going here, and I think he knows that, and now it's hyper-focused, right? The losing's got to be behind you. I guess that's ultimately the answer for me, Jay. He's done the losing. He's got to get winning. Because you got to be a winner. You have to have championships in order to chase that all-time GOAT status.
Going to switch topics a little bit here, Hazy. We heard from a number of players throughout the Olympics, and I love that it always comes back to it, the Toronto media. The Toronto media. The piñata that everyone loves to smack around. Mark Stone defends Mitch Marner from the Toronto media. The Hughes brothers defend Auston Matthews. We just heard that. But let's not just focus on Toronto. Let's open it up to the entire country. We know Matthew Tkachuk felt the scrutiny of playing in Calgary, and other American players have felt that. What do you feel about those who criticize the Canadian media when it comes to our hockey coverage? It always seems to happen, Brian, at international events like this.
Yeah, it would suggest to me there's a chance that the players that are playing on these Canadian clubs might actually be complaining about it themselves, right? There's a chance the players are complaining about it. But I also think ultimately it's a complete cop-out because the players play the game, and the media is here to cover whatever happens on the ice. If you win, your tires will be pumped. If you lose, you're going to face criticism. It's very simple. It's not overly complicated. And there hasn't been a Canadian team that's won a Stanley Cup since 1993. You know, it's been over 30 years. So obviously, there's nothing for the 7 collective Canadian media markets in the NHL to talk about in terms of Stanley Cup success. But there's a lot of positive coverage that happens from a player's perspective, from a team perspective, coaches, management, ownership, in all 7 clubs throughout the country. So I do think it's completely misleading. I do think it's a cop-out. But what I think it really does is shines a light on the reality that the NHL faces when it comes to their star players compared to stars in other leagues. There is a star segregation in the NHL because you can escape the heat. You can escape the spotlight. If you're one of the 32 quarterbacks in the NFL, you are going to be well known by everyone in that community, and you're going to be covered heavily and extensively. It doesn't matter if you're the quarterback in Jacksonville or the quarterback in New York. If you're a superstar in the NBA and you're in any of the 30 markets, you're going to be well known and well covered. That doesn't mean if you play in Cleveland or if you play in Los Angeles, you're still going to be known and you're going to be covered. It doesn't apply that way in the NHL, and that's really what these guys are saying. In Toronto, you get covered. You're beloved. You're known. You walk down the street, people know who you are. If you're in Winnipeg, if you're in Edmonton, Vancouver, Montreal, it doesn't apply to a lot of markets in the U.S. You can escape. You can run from it. You can hide. And to me, that's a cop-out. To me, it's just an unfortunate reality of the NHL. But I like the idea of players that want to play in that spotlight, want to play where it matters, appreciate the coverage, and also understand that once this curse comes to an end, the Canadian NHL Stanley Cup chase curse, those players who are on that team that finally win a Stanley Cup, they're going to get coverage that the Panthers didn't get and never will, that the Lightning didn't get, never will, the Golden Knights didn't get, never will, the Devils, the Wild, I don't care who it is down there, they can never relate because they'll never get to experience it because it simply doesn't mean the same amount, and it simply won't be approached, covered, cataloged, broken down, or remembered the way a superstar and his stars and his teammates around him will have it once they finally win a Stanley Cup on one of these 7 Canadian teams.
I always remember Jason Spezza was on this network practically every single day when he played with the Ottawa Senators. Then he went to Dallas, and I thought he was out of the league. I forgot he was still in the league. We forgot. Anyway, Brian, you took a moment on Monday, Brian, to send a beautiful birthday message to our close mutual buddy, Jeff O'Neill, who turned 50 years old on Monday. That's such a nice, I just love this picture. It's like practically like a father and son. How great was Monday celebrating the O-Dog, Brian?
Oh, it was phenomenal. And that is my favorite picture. That's me and the O-Dog up in the alumni box. And it's his most hated picture, just for the record. He absolutely despises that picture because he says he looks like Elf. Remember the old show Elf?
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, and he claims that that's what he looks like in that pic. I think I look pretty good in that pic. That's kind of what I like it. But it does actually look like I'm out with my dad. You know, like it's me and my dad. We're at the Leaf game, and we're enjoying ourselves. Happy 50th to the O-Dog. He's the best. He had a really fun hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half, and then it started to turn, and then he actually started aging as the show went on. He got mad at me for a McKinnon take I had, which is totally realistic, and which is what you expect from senior citizens. You expect that kind of reaction at times. So he's the best. We had a lot of fun. Happy 50th. He's the man. That's the last time I'll ever post that picture, I promise.
Yes. I don't know if I believe you about that one, but I do see the Alf resemblance. So from Gordon Shumway's lips to your ears, this has been Harvey's Hot Takes.
Hot Takes is presented by Harvey's. Harvey's Pickle Poutine is back. And for a limited time, get deep fried pickles for only $3. Harvey's, it's a beautiful thing.